What is up? It is technique review time where we look at videos of some of the top content providers. And as Rakely, we're trying to cut everybody's heads off, Genghis Khan style, build the China wall. Funny fact about the China wall, if you go look at the side that's designed to shoot arrows, it faces China. It doesn't face the side of the Mongol horde invading. Spooky stuff, insider trading. I think this is the right one. Come on. Right? For those of you who don't know, that's X-Files. Wait, whoops. Yeah, there we go. So anyway, we're out here like the Mongols, take no prisoners, wife the women, take the children, breed them in the new Mongol. You get to be a part of my Mongol horde. What greater honor is there? But anyway, so we're looking at My Swim Pro. Guy does a lot of video technique content. I'm not sure how fast this guy is. I need to look him up, his actual stats and who he is. But this is about 3 unusual drills to pull or improve your pull immediately. So I assume he's talking about freestyle, maybe other strokes, but definitely free, judged on the drawing. So let's see what we got going on.
Instead of moving through it, it's a common frustration among swimmers. You want a more powerful pull, so you try to pull harder. But in swimming, harder usually just means you're spinning your wheels and not making any significant progress. The difference between a beginner and an elite swimmer isn't just shoulder strength. It's something called feel for the water. Think of it like a ladder. If you're climbing, you need a...
Ooh, I'm about to whoop some ass on this episode. Ooh, I'm about to go crazy. Uh-oh. Hold on, guys. Is this?
solid grip to pull yourself up. In the pool, you have to create that...
Oh yeah, but yeah, I'm about to go crazy. So one thing that I can do, I'll say this, I'm the world's #1. Obviously Rakely is the world's #1. People just don't know it yet. But definitely this is feel for the water. So I'm about to go crazy in this video.
out of a liquid. Yeah, you're right, that sounds hard. Today we're going to stop slipping and start gripping. I'm showing you 3 unusual drills that will immediately fix your pull efficiency by waking up the nerve endings in your hands and eliminating the dead spots. Before we get into the water, you need to understand why these drills work. Sculling isn't about speed, it's about propulsion through pressure. When you scull, you are essentially calibrating your brain.
Wrong. I mean, I guess he's not wrong. He's not right, though. Sculling is about it. Anytime you see sculling, I want you to remember this, guys. This is something that people get wrong about sculling, I've realized since, shout out to David Marsh and Eddie to a degree. Sculling equals levers. You are finally using, I hope I spelled that right. I don't have time to look like an idiot on the internet. Let me make sure I spelled that right. Oh, that thing I was looking at, guys, let's just say swimmers are sensitive, bro. Somebody responded to one of our night swim, yeah, iPhone 8. Hate on, we got the button. Only real G's understand. Yeah, he sounded, we'll see, emotional. That's what it sounded like. My co-host Elvis said he sounds a little salty. I never get any comments, man. DM me, guys. I want to hear your hate also when we be talking crazy. Well, I guess Elvis is kind of the star as far as the wheels go. So yeah, makes sense. But yeah, swimmer tripping. It's very cowardly now that I think about it. So I'm gonna have something to talk about. But anyway, it's about levers. And you'll realize it's about all sculls. It is the only time you're not doing compound movements. It's the only time, right? If you're doing the windshield wiper skull for breaststroke, you're not doing a compound movement. There is a joint and then it moves everything. You're doing a front skull, shoulder, right? It's not a armpit, shoulder, elbow, it's going wide, which means this is opening up and I'm pulling back, right? Or I'm pushing through my hand, which doesn't do anything because now none of these muscles worked. Sculling is the only time you make levers, which allows you to create water pressure because of math. And here is your math. Like I said, I'm about to go crazy on this one. This is a longer distance out here. So this has to move a faster speed than this. So when you're doing your front skull and you're using your shoulder, your hand has to move faster, right? Now, if you run your hand to the water slowly, there's no waves, there's no water pressure. You move it fast, a lot of water pressure. You heard it here first. The only way you develop feel for the water, I can end the video right now. Mic drop. Yeah, I caught it. The only way that you can create feel for the water is you have to figure out how to use your body as levers. And if you go look at any of our Rakely content, any of it, vertical forearm, high elbow catch, the backstroke pulling, breaststroke pulling, the L skull, the around round under the barrel where it's one shape, they call it a class 2 lever because I think it's because it has a bend versus just a straight lever. You will see that everything we do and teach, of course we're gonna bust your ass in a swim meet. Stop playing with us.
You're engaging the thousands of tiny nerve endings in your fingertips, whether that's in freestyle, butterfly, backstroke, or breaststroke. If you're a beginner swimmer and you're not as familiar with how to scull, I recommend starting out by treading water. Pretend as if you're spreading frosting on top of a cake or sweeping ice cream with your hand like a spoon.
Right, I'm sure he'll accidentally give away everything I'm saying and prove me right at every point and himself wrong. But not wrong, but not right like me. Is I want you to watch how many of these sculls, even though his upper arm's moving a little bit and hers is too, how many of these sculls involve treating whatever's moving like a lever? All of them is the answer.
Sweep your hands left and right until you feel the pressure from the water in your palms. You're not taking full strokes. That's the big difference between a standard pull pattern and sculling. Once you're able to feel that engagement and your body is vertical, gradually start to tilt your body toward the front. Then stick your face in the water and continue that sweeping motion. And this is our first drill, the front skull. Really lead with your pinkies and then your thumbs.
This is a windshield wiper skull, is what I would call this. Front skull is arms extended, and the reason why I would call it windshield wiper is because of this right here.
You sweep, level out your...
If you look at his other arm, I'm missing it every time he does it. That is a lot closer to an early vertical forearm, which is the whole point of the front skull. And the front skull is usually side to side under the body and shoulder width. Whereas the windshield wiper, it's a breaststroke skull. Whereas your front skull is usually arms extended in the front. And for added pressure or effectiveness, when you're doing your front skull, is make sure it's coming through here. So instead of turning your wrists like he's doing, you're going to use your shoulder to open up that lat when you front skull. This is how my breaststrokers be whooping ass. That's how we teach the front skull. They're not allowed to, and they actually have to make themselves move forward just like this. So there's no like front back. It's just learning how to use that. We got you, man.
Level out your body onto your stomach. Continue that forward momentum. When you're doing the front skull, Your hands are above your shoulders, your elbows are bent at 90 degrees, and you really want to focus on driving your fingertips down to the bottom of the pool. The more vertical you can make your forearm, the faster you're going to be. But keep in mind, speed is not the focus here. When you scull, you're not going to go very fast, and that's okay. If you'd like, you can use a little bit of a kick or add a snorkel, fins, or a pull buoy. Use any equipment you like to help you engage those forearms and those nerve endings in your fingertips to really grab the water. Again, we don't want to engage the lats. Instead, we really want to activate our forearms. If your elbows drop below your hands here, you lose all leverage.
We don't want to engage the lats. He's not wrong again. Well, I guess he's probably a mid-level swimmer. College. Not like a high major college. Power 4 school. But anyway, I disagree with, at least on the front skull. Front skull, I think you should open the lats, whether you are, which is arms extended in my case. If the arms are bending, you're doing a windshield wiper. Because it's just good extra programming. It's just good extra programming. Sorry about that, guys.
You should feel this engagement in your shoulders and upper back too. A pro tip is to lead with your pinkies on the way out and your thumbs on the way in. If you can't stay afloat, use a snorkel so you can keep your head down and focus 100% on the feeling of pushing and
So feel it in your shoulders and your back, but not your lats, which you actually need. Like, you see what I'm talking about, guys?
feeling the water with your forearms, hands, and fingers. If you're struggling to feel the water, start in the shallow end. Stand up and draw a figure 8 with your hands. You shouldn't be digging deep and neither be just waving your hands around. Think about applying constant, even pressure. This pressure eliminates those moments in your stroke where you lose momentum and sink. If you can master this frosting motion, you'll eliminate these inefficient spots and have a much more efficient pull. Try it for a whole 25, or if you are not ready yet, you can do half of the pool length of front skull drill and then swim regular freestyle for the second half. Once you get the hang of it, we can move on to drill number 2, which is slightly harder and it's called lateral skull. So for this drill, you want to feel like you're sitting in a chair, your core.
Shout out to this guy. This is a good drill. I never even thought about that. I do forwards, feet forwards, which I use especially for breaststrokers because a lot of breaststrokers like to pull back. Which, oh, I should use this drill with that girl. I think we did. That's why we started doing other stuff because she couldn't do it. But anyway, with breaststrokers, right? Because we don't want their hands pulling back, they have to use their L skull to move forward and their wrist. So they'll have their legs up, their arms are supposed to be under their hand, and they have to use this motion correctly to move forward instead of any type of weirdness. But yeah, sideways is really good. I didn't even think about that. Good for purely developing the feel, not really for anything else. And you, once again, look for the levers, guys.
Engaged, your knees are up, and you're actually sculling while pushing yourself to the right side or the left side. Remember, you're not taking actual pulls. You're sculling the water and really maneuvering yourself within this medium that is 800 times more dense than air. This can be a very tiring drill for beginners, so you don't need to do it for an entire length of the pool. Doing it for 20 to 30 seconds at a time will be enough to improve your feel of the water. Finally, we have the paddle skull. With paddles on, you can really engage the feel of the water. Just make sure you're not taking full strokes. You're still doing that sweeping motion.
Okay, guys, we're about to show how not of a scam I am and that I don't know, we'll see if I end up having to draw a math equation. Okay, the reason I don't like paddles, this goes for any equipment, it's the best thing if you know how to swim, you know how to use a lever, right? So when you use a lever, muscle recruitment. Yeah, we'll say recruitment. Trying to think, how would I draw a slash? We'll just put it at a little division sign. Activation. No, access. Actually, I can't do division because then it looks like a math equation. Okay? So muscle recruitment slash accessing your muscles. Now, the problem with paddles, all right, let's just say that in this circle, right? Let's just say this is moving, let's make it easy. We'll say 2 mph and then 5 value. Okay? Now, no, I didn't mean 5, I meant 10. Now, if you really want to see an illustration of this, go grab a weight, like 5, 10 pounds, hold them close, and then move away from your body, and you'll see how much extra strength you have to exert. Now, the extra, swimming is different where obviously this gives us a lot more mechanical advantage. Mechanical advantages are bad in swimming, except for backstroke. We'll talk about that another time. So I'm trying to create 10 by using, this is my muscles. So let's draw. In my chest, in my back, and my lat, right? Because to move this through resistance, all these got to activate. Like if let's see if I can do it. Like you can see even just me just pressing here how it has to activate, right? Whereas if I'm just trying to extend my elbow, there's still some, but it's a lot more in my traps, or my triceps, sorry, which is a weaker muscle. That's probably why you're not doing well, is because you're trying to move your hand through the water, right? And you're releasing some muscles. But that's another conversation for another time. So I'm trying to make this value of 10 correctly by using my muscles, which makes my hand have to move faster, which increases resistance. Okay? So having a lever increases resistance. Now, as resistance increases, it will eventually, we achieve solid water. Resist. Okay? Now, when solid water, this is where you'll find in our Rakely content the bouncing drill for freestyle, where we essentially, even though the head is up with gravity, right, against gravity, we create so much force and so much resistance that the hand cannot displace through the water, so the body of the swimmer, let's just put this hand here, right, and this is the water kind of compressing, right, those water molecules getting more compact, just like if you imagine freezing, right, liquid to solid. Yeah, I know this is athlete science, but it's also real science. I just don't know what the real science is. Eventually, the hand can't displace through the water anymore, so the body has to displace. Okay? Now, let's just say it's actually this way, right? This is where you have an anchor. They say anchor your catch, and you use your shoulders to twist yourself past your anchor point. Okay? Now, the problem with this, take a screenshot if you need to. Okay, so this actually worked out really well. It was about to be a really short video. The problem with this is when you introduce equipment. So paddles, bungees, what's another one? Power towers or buckets. Buckets. Say power towers and buckets. What else is there? I think that's good. Anything that gives you like a bigger surface area, right? So whatever this equation is, right? Let's just say my hand is a 2, say a size 5. My pull speed up here is a 2, right? Like I said, I don't really feel like, I'm not trying to have a long video, so I'm not gonna sit here and think about the exact equation. I've done it before. It was like a whole whiteboard of shit because you got to then go back and simplify stuff and, that you may longhand. But anyway, so I have a hand the size of a 5. I'm pulling at a strength of 2, and this creates the value of 10, which allows me to displace body versus hand, right? The body has to go because my hand can't go through anymore, right? When you have paddles, bungees, and all this stuff, this now becomes a 10. Well, I guess with paddles, it becomes a 10, right? Oh yeah, let's draw that right there. With paddles, this becomes a 10. With bungees and power towers, you have a value of negative something. Right now, if you're moving forward against the bungee, obviously the pull strength is greater. So you have a -4 and a 5, -4 and a 5, right? The difference in these is 9, right? So I've effectively created the power that creates. Now the thing is, or that should be this, right? And in some cases you will. With paddles, I can get kids to have the bouncing drill very easy because we basically cheated, right? These ones are a little different because it's something pulling you back. You didn't make more power, okay? Even though you did make more power, but you made it in a weird way. You recruited more muscles, but you're not doing your equation for leverage correctly. So these will give you more power, but they don't teach you how to pull. Okay? Now, let's take the same equation, right? We're going to get rid of this now. It's been up long enough. And this is where, like I said, I was about to wild out in this video. About to whoop some ass. Okay. So we have paddles. Made my hand size to a 10. Bungees made me create more power to move forward, a power of 9 to a negative. And same thing with power towers. / buckets. Okay, so this is the way we want to do. Once you know how to pull, right? Before I had a 2, a 5, which gave me 10, right? Where I was able to displace my body. If my hand is now a 10, keep in mind, this is the power that I'm creating that allows me, or the resistance I'm creating, which allows me to actually displace my body. If I move my hand size to a 10, it is going to take more strength for me to move this lever through the water, right? Which means it's also going to anchor much quicker, but I'm going to have to increase my power output. So let's just say, it's going to have to be a lot. So I'm going to have to now, before I can only use a 2 to move a 5, I got to get up to an 8 to move a 10. Right? So now with the paddles, I'm actually training myself to create more strength. And then this basically works the same for this up here, right? I have a negative value. I'm just gonna draw it like this. How do I do this? Like that. Yeah, I remember. You ain't seen that since high school. I have a negative value, right? But because now I'm being pulled back, instead of this 9 power that I'm making by difference, but I'm being pulled back, but I'm still really only making a 5 power. It's just now I'm slowed down. Now, if I'm pulling correctly, I'm creating more resistance. So this actually works the correct way. Okay? Because I'm still making that same bounce, but now I'm being pulled back faster. Right? So if I'm doing my bounce, I'm gonna draw right here. right? Eventually this is going to go curve this way a little bit, right? Because it's a circle, right? I have this -4 pulling this hand back also, right? So this previous, what was it, 10, right? 10 value, right? Now has to deal with this -4, which means I need to make more power to get to 2 so I can get to 10, mathematically speaking. I know that part right there probably didn't make any sense, but just think like you're producing a power of 2 against a 5 power in your hand because of the lever size, and that creates a resistance value of 10. Well, now your resistance value has gone up, so you have to, and your hand size is the same, so you have to produce more power. There it is. My bad, guys. I'm tripping. This has gone up because you have more resistance. So this is now a 14. Your hand size is the same, so you can't do 2 and think it's going to suffice. You're going to have to go up in power to meet the 14. Right? But this is all determined on if you pull correctly. Now, like I said, these things can, right, because it's a 10, because your resistance is a 9, they're going to require more strength, right? Except for maybe these 2 cases because you're technically not moving faster, although you are making power. But anyway, they don't teach you how to pull. And that's the issue I have with like this I guess kind of this video, is that it's just a misconception of everything that's really going on, right? It's about levers. Right? If you can't get this down, this stuff you're getting marginal benefits from. And I know some of y'all who really suck at pulling, y'all all remember when you take the paddles off and your hand just slips through the water? It's because you were putting pressure on your hand. You weren't doing this where the pressure is up here. You see what I'm saying? To where now you're recruiting more muscle and then you take the paddles off, but your body still thinks I need to move that much muscle. Sorry guys, let me. Right? So that's how I feel about that stuff, guys. You know, overall, pretty good video. I think he may be a good swimmer, but this is definitely geared towards beginners' understanding of the water. And a lot of times, like I said, if you don't fix this leverage stuff, like you can have all this stuff, because you can just have your mother get in the water and tell her to put her hand in the water and make waves. They're gonna make resistance. They're gonna have a feel for the water. So it's not that these people don't have feel for the water. Like, no, everybody does. And this is what it really pisses me off when people say that, oh, you don't have a feel for the water. No, you're a terrible you're a terrible coach. Okay? And you don't care that your kid's telling you, yo, it's not working, homie. Help me. Get fired up about this stuff. You want to piss me off, betray children. Anyway, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed this little math equation. You know, I don't know anybody else in the swim game putting it on like this. If you do, let me know in the comments so I can go react to some of their videos. I'll probably agree with a lot of it because the world is functions. You know, if you took algebra, you remember that. You took calculus, you remember that. So there's always an equation for anything that goes down. And if your equation, if we do what he just said, and then we get in the water for normal swim and the kid doesn't have a feel for the water, your equation is bullshit. You checked your math and you got the wrong answer. So you're gonna do the multiple choice and just try stuff until you find something that works. That's how you're supposed to do. Anyway, I'm gonna get on my high horse. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. I hope you enjoyed the math lesson. I really wish I could have gone into details about and actually drew up an equation, but then this video would go on forever. Coming up with equations based on what you see is hard, you know? Like you learn in school, let's just say the quadratic formula, right? And then you'll take a test and you know it's the quadratic formula. But then like when you get to the real world, like you gotta look at it and be like, Johnny is doing the high elbow catch scull. When he does it, he creates this much force. When he does swimming, he makes this much force. Why isn't Johnny making the same amount of force? And then you gotta be like, okay, which equation is that? Okay, well, and then you break it down. Okay, well, it's this one, and then it's this one over here, and then you simplify it, and you find out like, oh, it's this equation, right? So it takes time. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the content. Make sure you hit that noti bell so you're notified whenever I drop a video. Please like and subscribe. Like I said, leave a comment. Let me know what y'all thought about the math and swimming. Math don't lie. Sometimes it may tell fibs, but it don't lie. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.